Visualization is a long word. Long words frequently confuse simple concepts. A lot of beginners in visualization are confused. They're asking, the most dominant one, well, what if I can't see images? What if I can't see something? Well, relax, first of all. I assure you, you can. Second of all, visualization is a term that is frequently used, and really, in a lot of ways, imagine would be a better term. You can imagine, if I ask you to imagine a time when you were with your best friend and you were feeling joy, you were feeling excitement, you were about to do something that was important to both of you, and the outcome was uncertain, but you both knew that it was going to be important and you both felt enthusiastic about it. Now, I venture to guess that you conjured up a specific place, time, a specific friend, not just anybody out of the billions of humans on earth. You had in mind. You had a good, clear visualization, whether or not you happen to see an exact image. So that's what we need. By the way, image is in the word imagination, imagination. Nation meaning to make, image, but it's in a conceptual way. And in fact, what we frequently talk about, for instance, in our hypnotherapy sessions, I will talk about, now I want you to see a person or see and make a person appear. And you can do it by a shape, a feeling, a color, a knowing. Just know that, be that, feel that, conceive that, conceptualize that that person is there. Because potentially in a hypnosis session, we may be going to have an interaction with them. But so it's real simple. I mean, that's it. That's all there is to it. I can go home. However, I've developed an even more cumbersome acronym than the word visualization is. I've developed a term called VCAGM. But it's beneficial to discuss it just to give you a wide view of what's involved in visualization. Now, typically we use the acronym VCAGM when we're talking about creating goal visualizations, something that will have power, something that will have life, something that has electricity and magnetism, something that has the capacity to manifest. And visualization is a significant part of manifestation. But right now we're focusing more on visualization, but the different ways we do it. VCAGM, V is the first word. In fact, the whole word, let me spell it, is VAKOGEM. VCAGM. VAKOGEM. Each letter, because it's an acronym, stands for a word. V stands for visual. A stands for auditory. VAK, K stands for kinesthetic. VAKO, O stands for olfactory. VAKOG, G stands for gustatory. VAKOGE, E, emotional, feeling. M stands for movement. VCAGM. So those put together are the ways you can make a visualization. You can visualize it. You can hear. For instance, if you're a musician or an auditory person, I could talk to you about, I say, think about Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And you can go, da 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 da. Well, internally you heard it. Now, no, it's not like you heard it and you thought you actually heard it in the environment, or that can very much be so. But it can also be you quickly identified and tuned in. Oh yeah, that's blah, 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 blah. Or one of the Beatles, she loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can hear it. She was just 17. You can hear. So visual, auditory, kinesthetic. When she walked into the room, my stomach turned butterflies. Well, when you're doing your imaginations, your visualizations, a lot of times you get the feeling. In fact, some law of attraction manifestation speakers talk about feelingization. That's a term that Lorna Levy likes to use, not visualization, feelingization, saying that getting the feeling of it is really the most important thing. So you can get the feeling, and whenever I asked you to do a visualization to be with that person you were with and you were about to have do something that was important to you and you could feel the anticipation, you could feel that you were doing right, that feeling puts you into the state. These are the different ways that visualization comes about. VAKO, olfactory. I was in a meditation just yesterday evening. The person who was leading the event put on some East Indian music, and it was beautiful. And after a while, with eyes closed, I thought I smelled I thought I smelled incense. Now I did smell incense. I thought someone, when I thought about it, right, I thought someone, presumably the presenter, had lit incense while we were in the meditative state. When it ended after about 3.5 minutes, I saw there was no incense, and at that point I could smell and there was no incense, but it was there during. Now, this whole thing too, a lot of times you can create, that's one aspect, that's enough. A lot of times one thing can pull another. For instance, you're driving down the road with your thoughts maybe on your workaday world and what you're going to do. You pass a bakery. Next thing you know, you're with your granddad, you're going into the bakery that you went into every single day when you were a young child. Good memories come up. You're with your granddad, you're visualizing. That's the simple way it is. It's don't get stuck where you have to see as clearly as you see on a movie screen a visualization. And by the way, when you're doing that, that's not only visual because there's sound, auditory going on. And tell me you're not getting kinesthetic feelings when you see the good guy and the bad guy fighting and the outcome is uncertain and the bad guy knocks the good guy down and it looks like it's over, and those are feelings that are involved. Continuing on, VAKOG, gustatory. The sense of taste is one of the 5 major senses. Not everybody, by the way, says we only have 5 senses. There's a major part of the world that talks about 6 senses, the mind being one of them that can create things for you. And what we frequently call the 6th sense is actually the first sense, unnumbered, right? But be that as it may, gustatory. And a lot of times someone calls up when you're asking something to come and visualize. For instance, let's say you're visualizing getting married and you're creating that through manifestation. Well, you might actually visualize the moment where bride and groom are feeding each other the cake. Gustatory, you're getting that in. You might visualize, if it has to do with your work and career, the achievement at a celebratory dinner. You might, if you're so inclined, visualize your first $1 million celebrated with a bubbly, a glass of champagne, cling, cling, and you feel the pungent taste of it. That's using this sense of taste, the gustatory sense. VAKOG, E, the emotional. In fact, whenever I write it out as a word, I always put the umlaut, which is those two dots over the E. Vakoge with an umlaut M. Because emotional energy, the excitement. You know, one of the things I do is I do a lot of public speaking. And I always like to imagine myself being at the, before I start, right? While I'm waiting, while they're doing the introduction, I like to imagine myself like I'm in a race car. That feeling and that excitement and that anticipation, and I know I'm going to give it all I got, and I'm pretty doggone certain I'm going to be a good performer. And there's still a nervousness and excitement. Now that's emotional energy. You could be imagining, again, going back to your imagining finding your perfect mate, you could be imagining the goofy feelings that you're going to be feeling when you meet this Mr. or Mrs. Right, and where you know it and you don't know it at the same time. You can be imagining, if you're thinking about having a child or becoming a better parent, the emotional involvement and what the child feels. In a million different illustrations, you can be emotionally involved. And finally, we come to the M in Vakagam, and that is put movement in it. Now, again, all these can kind of come together without separating them. We only separate them for scientific analysis. But like, for instance, I was talking about feeling the anticipation at the starting line. There's movement there. I was talking about walking into the bakery with your dad. I was talking about feeding each other the cake and you feeling this movement. It's not just a static shot. Oh, by the way, it also helps to be associated in the present tense too when you're doing visualization. In other words, you walking in, that's being associated. You're with your dad or granddad, and you feel yourself as you did it, holding your hand and going in and feeling excited and marveled and so pleased to enter into the bakery, rather than being someone up in the air observing these people entering. That's disassociated. You are associated. In present tense is in, even though you're imagining what's going to happen, you're excited, you're imagining, but yet you feel the emotional engagement. So that's it. This little survey of visualization, what it really is, how to make it yours without stress, is given to you for your benefit so that you can put behind you, if you've ever had them, any misnomers about what visualization is, so that you can develop, strengthen, feel confident as you go forward, creating the world, living in and enjoying the world as you would have it.